Welcome back to Grotzod Plays Minecraft. Today, we are going to go on a little bit of an adventure before we get into building our altar, which we'll be using to get our structure block and our command blocks, because in order to do it, I need some sticky pistons in order to make it so we can have a couple different recipes. We're going to make our altar so we have a recipe for getting a command block and a recipe for getting a structure block. But in order to do that, we need sticky pistons, and I realized that I don't actually have any slime balls. And actually, I haven't even seen any slimes for that matter. So, we're going to go for a little adventure, because I remember at the end of the Canyon of Death, the Camp Grotzod, as someone I think suggested, there was a swamp, I believe. So, we're going a little tour down to the end of the canyon here, under this awesome overarch. This would be really cool if we put a big gate in here at some point. That'd be kind of fun. But apparently down here, I remember seeing, if I remember correctly, a swamp. So that's what we're going to investigate, is if I indeed remember correctly. Oh, yes. My memory has not failed me. Not this time. Oh, there's even a witch's hut over there. That's pretty cool. So we are going to go and wander around this area until we find some slimes, so then we can actually start building. So once I find some slimes, I will bring you guys back. Stand by. So I've been hanging out in the rain in this nice, dark, extremely damp weather, and finally a slime has spawned way over there, so we're going to run down and get him. Just run over here. Yeah, it's been probably a good like 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes that I've been kind of hanging out, just hoping something would spawn. I ran around for a while during the daytime, and I didn't see anything. Oh, I think I got shot by a zombie. No, by a skeleton. Yeah. And oh man, the frame rate is real. Ow. I want your balls. Slime balls. Come on. I should really be using a sword with the like swing effect. But oh god. Creeper. The run and hit technique. Axe, you are a slow weapon for fighting slimes. But I think we're going to get enough from these guys to do what we need to do. So, 8, that's pretty good. Let's just get this skeleton so he stops shooting us. Nope. I'm about to die. Let's eat up here. And then let's go and take on the skeleton. Collect his stuff. Cool. I also found something very cool I think you guys would be very interested in over here. It is some reeds. Look at this, or sugar cane. Look at this. Look at these. Aren't these beautiful? Yeah. Them's nice. Them's nice. We already have enough at home, but you know, in the wild, they look nice and pretty. Okay. I am going to go back to our base, where we can then start work on our, more creepers, and a skeleton. Oh, he saw me. Oh god. We're going to start work on the altar, and the altar room. I'll be right back. Okay, now that we're back at the base, or the town hall, now that we're back at the base, we're going to go start on building this guy. So I threw in a temporary staircase and some kind of pillars here, and as you can see, I dug out this entire area. We do have a small problem here, because if you look back here, we actually don't have a very deep mountain, because it feeds out into this beautiful, yet, yes, beautiful landscape here. This is actually a pretty cool area as well. Maybe we'll eventually expand our orc village out into this area, because there's some really cool stuff back here. There's like a ravine. I'll just quickly run over here and show you guys. There's a cool ravine down here somewhere. Here it is. So this is pretty epic looking, if you ask me. Ravine. So this could be a neat place to expand to eventually. I mean, we'll get there when we have time. We're literally young into this series still. I don't even think we have 10 episodes yet. So episode 100 maybe we'll see about getting out here. It is a cool area though, I will give it that. But that's not why we're here. We're here to build this guy. So the altar itself, I think, would be really cool if it was just in like the center of the room, and then maybe let me just grab some. Actually, I have some rudimentary blocks here. So maybe what we're thinking, or what I'm thinking, is we would have our altar like this of some sort, and then in front of it, like right here, we would actually have, I don't have any on me, but we'd have like a hopper or something like that right here that we would, oh, actually I have a better idea. Why don't we, instead of having a hopper right there, we could actually rip out all this stuff quickly. And I have slabs on me, right? I do have slabs, okay, cool. What we could do is we could slab this entire area, and then underneath here, we would have maybe a different type of slab, and we would put a hopper right here, because you can pick up items through half slabs, and then we would have the altar being this kind of thing a little bit high off the ground. We would throw our stuff on the floor in front of the altar to sacrifice it, and then the animation stuff would happen, the room would explode and do whatever it's going to do, which we will actually do together in an episode or two from now, because I don't think we're going to have time to get to it today. And then once that's all done, then the items would actually be on the altar, which would be, I think, pretty darn cool. I have, in my creative world, built how this is actually going to function, because I want to be able to make it, as I was saying before, that we would put in items for a structure block, and we would have a different recipe for our command block. So we'd be able to throw in our items for whatever recipe we're trying to build, or whatever we're sacrificing to our command block god, and we would then get the either command block or the structure block from that. So I've actually worked out how that is already going to work. Unfortunately, because we're pretty young into this Let's Play, and the world is pretty new, I actually don't have all of the materials I need to build it. And I don't want to go and just kind of... the module itself, with the structure blocks and how the animation stuff works, sure, I'm going to do all that stuff in the creative world, but when it comes to the redstone part of it on how to basically build a combination lock is what this is, I actually want to be able to build that, in vanilla survival, without actually having to bring stuff in. So I'm missing currently about 1.5 stacks of iron to make my hoppers, and I'm missing about 10 more slime blocks. I only managed to get 8 from our adventure in the swamp, which wasn't as fruitful as I'd hoped. I think I need to either light the swamp up more, or I need to do some caving underneath the swamp area to kind of make it so there's less mobs spawning down underneath, because I think what was happening is I would hang out there. I was hanging out there for a day and a half, probably, maybe 2 days, and what would happen is eventually no mobs were really spawning on the surface anymore because so many mobs are spawning underground. So I'll have to fix that up at some other point. So in the meantime, though, we can totally decorate this room and figure out what we want it to look like. So this is kind of a basic idea. I'm not sure how I like these stairs, actually, if we're going to do half slab, because we're going to half slab this entire floor. So just rip out all this quickly, and we'll throw down some slabs so we can see what this looks like. And we can eventually change these materials. I'm just kind of throwing these down as just temporary, because I have them in my inventory quickly. This would be just a regular block, I think. So that looks kind of cool. I think it would also be neat, because we don't have to keep with the circular design, even though I quite like it. We'll also have to replace these walls. I think it would be quite neat if this room... I kind of want to put wood in here. I think that would look kind of cool. So we might have these wooden beams to give this room a little bit of like depth. Thinking if we come up off the corners... So that's already half slab. Oops. I'm not sure why I half slabbed that. I think I probably threw it a half slab to prevent mobs from spawning, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember. But we can go like this, where if we have this guy that comes across, and then we would have the same kind of deal on the other side. Boom, boom, boom. We could actually potentially take out these so we don't see those. And then we could go across the top like this. Should really be using a shovel. So that could add a little bit of depth. It's not adding as much depth as I'd like, mostly because this is flush with this wall here. Then we can actually add in some kind of maybe pattern with stairs or something. So we'd like dig out all this, and then something like this maybe. Actually, instead of it being, because this is 5 wide, we could actually go like this. 1, 1, 1, and then, oops, totally put that upside down. And then we could actually have these back blocks be, did I bring red wool? I didn't bring red wool. Let's just pretend it's wood. We can then do something like that. Oops, throwing blocks everywhere here. I'll need to go get some red wool, but I think what we'll have like these red circles back here. We can actually, maybe put a flag or something on there at some point and somewhere. As far as lighting's concerned, I hemmed and hawed on the idea of using lava to like light this area up, and I wasn't completely sold on it actually. I was really thinking having lava like pouring down from the ceilings. I think what we're going to do instead, and this is actually going to involve us having to go to the Nether at some point, is actually have fire cauldrons in the corner blocks here. So it would be, I don't have a flint and steel on me either, but it'd be something kind of like, if we rip out these a little bit, we would have these. Oh, I need an actual block there. Bam, bam. And maybe a corner block here. And yes, corner block. And don't be like that. And then we would actually have these 3 blocks in the corner be on fire, and that would actually provide the light for the room for the most part. And now that I've explained my idea a little bit here, I'm going to actually put some of this together, and we'll see what it looks like, and then we can make adjustments from there. And I'm back. I ended up going with the lava lighting because it's just way too cool not to do. So I was putting up torches everywhere, and well, torches can look really good in some places, but not all of them. But lava lighting generally looks pretty rad all the time. This is the base idea. I haven't done this side yet, just because I wanted to show you guys what I've got done so far, because I can either time-lapse the rest of this, or I can do this later, one of the two. Mostly because the altar room's not going to be finished today, because I can't build the guts of the machine yet. So I just wanted to show you what I've done so far. I ended up kind of going with some logs, lava lighting. I originally had these logs placed right where these pillars are, and as you can guess, they kept catching on fire from the lava. So I ended up having to put a buffer between them and the actual logs, which ended up working out, I think it worked out pretty good. Yeah, I also, as you can tell, I snuck some torches back here to give some lighting to these red spots, which I think it's going to look pretty good. So we'll have this will just be a normal open 3x3, and you'll come in, there'll be the altar here, kind of some cool lava lighting. It's still kind of roundish, which is cool. And then we're going to be probably going to put, I don't know, maybe 3 on this side, hoppers, so then you can just throw your stuff down in front of the altar. I'll also put some redstone down here, so it looks like some blood has been sacrificed on this altar. Maybe I'll actually even put some redstone on top here as well. That'd look kind of cool, I think. But yeah, and then basically right below here, where these half slabs are, is where those hoppers will be, which will then pick up and actually put the items through the locking mechanism, which will then determine what we're actually crafting. Speaking of that, I'm going to jump into our creative world, and I will actually show you the actual contraption that we're going to be putting underneath here. So then next time, hopefully, if I can get all the resources together, we can probably build it and then put everything in here. So that'll be the next major step of this project. So let's jump into the animation world. It should be right through here, I believe. There we go, and let's talk about this madness I have going on here. As you can see, look at this. I've cleaned up these paths even. Anyways, we'll get to that in a second. So originally, I wanted to figure out how I could make a system that sorted items to determine what items were put into the system, and then determine a crafting recipe out of that. So we could have 2 or 3 or 4, however many we wanted, different crafting recipes going into a module. So the first thing I did, this was a test just to see a basic item sorter. I think I put red wool in here, and it goes through and it triggers a signal. So this is nothing new, but this works. I then, found an item sorting tutorial, which I think everyone's seen this before. Basically, depending on what you put into the system, it'll either sort it into, chest 1, 2, or 3. These obviously have to be stair blocks or something. This is whole blocks. You can't actually open these right now. This was a test I did that failed. I wanted to see if there was a way of using a pressure plate to throw items in, which would then actually turn this hopper on, but it doesn't work. So the final design I came up with was this beast right here. So let me explain how this works, and then I'll show you the compact module version that I built over there. So let me show you how that actually works. So this was the initial concept, and then I ended up making a modular version of it that is more compact and more refined, which is what we want. So with this guy, this is what we're actually putting into our Let's Play. So this is what we actually need to build. So as you can see, let me show you the actual module parts. So it is a two block wide module, and I think it's 7 blocks tall and 13 blocks wide or long, I guess. So it's not the most compact thing, but it gets the job done, and it gets the job done quite well. So the way this works is we should have some, I think it's yellow clay is what this thing takes. So let's see. So yeah, yellow clay. So if we put yellow clay into the system, so we put 1. Oh, it goes so fast, you can't even tell. So we put yellow clay into the system, it goes down, it'll be fed into this hopper, which then will say, yes, that is the correct item, which will then trigger a pulse. This isn't a pulse, this is just to invert our signal from an on to an off switch. It'll send the pulse down, triggering this to send a single pulse to make this thing flip either on or off, as I explained over there. Sending the red signal down. So this is the module. So we can just copy this section right here as many times as we want to have as many items in our crafting recipe or our system, locking system really is what it is, as possible. Then when it fires off its signal, because I'll show you why this exists. So this is another pulse, so the same thing as what we have right there. We have another one of those because, let me just grab some grass here, because what was happening is if you put more than one item in, so if I was to put in, so this is actually going to be like a fail-safe for us, because if someone puts in too many items, then, oh, that's the wrong sacrifice thing for us to get our structure blocks. So maybe someone puts in, let's say, six diamonds into our system. What ends up happening is it keeps this signal on too long, it keeps the signal on too long, which breaks our system. So rather than just sending a single pulse, the saying one item was in there, it actually keeps it on, which then our reset system actually stays turned on, which is not what we want. We want it to be fast enough that it doesn't do that. As you can see, goes through. The reason why, again, this is the reason why I was showing you that actually in the first place. So we don't want, if someone puts in the wrong recipe, we don't want our module to stay powered. We don't want it to basically keep playing the animation non-stop. We want it to just fire off once. So we have a single pulse. I think it's called a pulse. I don't know. I have to check the name. So it sends off a signal pulse to our module, which is what this output is for, even though it's technically broken. The way we reset that is I have a reset button, which we will find a home for somewhere in that altar room, and just a simple press of the button and it resets everything. Basically what it does is it repowers the reset button down, or the reset switch down here. So yeah, again, this is modular. This section here in the yellow or yellowy orange is the absolute end part of the module, and the purple is the absolute front of the module. So you can have as many of these in between as you want, and then this and that. We can also technically run multiple of these in parallel, as in we'll be able to take this section here, including this guy, and yeah, we'll be able to take this section here, including this guy, and mirror it onto this side here, which, yeah, that would totally work. So, which would then create two different recipes. so we wouldn't have to have different inputs for different recipes. And yeah, and then we would have the same output. The idea being, also, this is another thing to note, because I want our sacrifice system to be that whatever we put in, and if you put the wrong item in as well, by the way, sorry. If you put the wrong item in, it just filters through into this chest anyways, right? So let's just show you an example. We'll put in some redstone. It doesn't trigger anything, but it does end up in this chest. So what I want to happen in this system is when we sacrifice something, when we put it into the system, I want it to be destroyed. So we're sacrificing it after all, right? And we can't get it back. So we're not going to be putting it into a chest down below. This will actually be replaced in our system with a dropper that has a comparator on it that whenever there's an item in it, it'll actually trigger it a number of times. And then it'll be like a lava pit underneath of it, so it just fires stuff into lava. So we actually will lose any items that we put into the system, or if we enter in a recipe wrong, so if we put in 2 diamonds and we only need 1, then it'll break the system, and we will lose our diamonds because we failed to sacrifice something correctly. So yeah, that's that. Let me know if you guys actually want me to do a tutorial on how I built this and how it works, like a block for block placement. I can totally do that. I'd be down. But if you guys aren't interested, I will leave it be, because there's already a bunch of really good channels out there, Mumbo Jumbo being a fantastic guy, which I watched for a lot of these, watched in order to build these guys. I took a lot of his ideas and what he uses, because they're fantastic. But if you guys want, I can do a block for block placement on this, so you guys can build it yourself. If not, then that's cool too. Yeah, so that's how this works. I'm going to quickly jump back into our Let's Play Survival, and we will probably wrap up the episode. I think this is about the end of it. Before I do that, though, I'll actually go and finish up that altar room, so then we can see what that looks like, and then we'll finish up the video there. Okay, I will be right back. Note to self, this is not going to work. I'm going to have to find a new building material, because things are burning down. This is not good. Well, we're gonna do the end of the episode somewhere else that's currently not in the middle of burning down. So here you go. There's the altar room as it slowly burns away. I'm gonna maybe we'll go find some packed hardened clay, mesa biome stuff, and maybe that's what we'll use, is kind of brown, because the brown I think looks good, and use some brown to separate it all out. Maybe some red as well for the red spots, because this ain't gonna work. Either way, here's the room. Oh boy. And that's gonna conclude today's episode. Thanks for watching. Before we end the episode, I want to do comment of the day. Grotzod episode 8, blah blah blah. Can we get a download link for your test world, please? From Razvan Castescu. Sorry if I'm completely butchering your name there. I don't know how to pronounce that very well. Yeah, actually, you totally can. I have put this episode's creative world, which we've been working on a bunch today, actually, even, up on Planet Minecraft. There is a link in the video description below this video. You can go and check that out if you want. And, yeah, let me know what you think of the test world. I mean, it's its own thing. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching, and don't forget, Orcs rule! Yeah!